Competitive landscape, evaluating the 2024 race in Mars exploration. Introduction. The space race of 2024 is not merely a continuation of historical competition, it is a transformation marked by the emergence of private enterprises that are challenging established players like SpaceX in Mars exploration. As a new era of space exploration unfolds, companies such as Blue Origin and Virgin Galactic are reshaping the competitive landscape, leading to a complex interplay between innovation, international relations, and space governance. This report delves into the dynamics of the current space race, exploring the key players, their innovations, the implications of commercialization, and the geopolitical ramifications surrounding Mars exploration. Key players and innovations. SpaceX, the trailblazer. Founded by Elon Musk in 2002, SpaceX has emerged as a dominant force in the space sector, particularly in Mars exploration. The company's groundbreaking reusable rocket technology has revolutionized space travel by significantly lowering launch costs, making it economically viable to consider human missions to Mars. The Falcon 9 and Starship rockets are central to SpaceX's ambitions, with Starship designed explicitly for interplanetary travel. Blue Origin, a focus on space tourism and heavy lift launches. Backed by Jeff Bezos, Blue Origin entered the space race with a dual focus on suborbital space tourism and developing heavy lift capabilities. The New Shepard rocket is designed for suborbital flights, catering to the burgeoning space tourism market. Moreover, Blue Origin's New Glenn rocket aims to compete with SpaceX in the heavy lift launch sector, positioning itself as a serious contender in the commercialization of space. Virgin Galactic, carving out a niche in suborbital space tourism. Richard Branson's Virgin Galactic has primarily focused on suborbital space tourism, offering a unique experience to civilians willing to pay for a brief journey to the edge of space. While not directly competing in Mars exploration, Virgin Galactic's advancements in spaceflight technology contribute to the overall innovation landscape, fostering a culture of commercial space travel. The shift from government to private interests. The transition from government-led initiatives to a privatized space economy reflects a paradigm shift known as Space Race 2.0. This new phase emphasizes profit and technological ambition over the geopolitical motivations that characterized the original space race during the Cold War. The implications of this shift are profound, impacting international relations, economic potential, and the future of space governance. Commercialization and global implications. The commercialization of space has led to numerous challenges in international law and governance. The 1967 Outer Space Treaty, which was designed to regulate state-sponsored space activities, does not adequately address the complexities introduced by private enterprises. As companies like SpaceX, Blue Origin, and Virgin Galactic plan for human settlements on Mars and resource extraction from asteroids, questions about property rights, resource ownership, and legal oversight become increasingly urgent. Geopolitical dynamics. The current space race cannot be viewed in isolation from global politics. China has emerged as a formidable competitor with significant advancements in space technology, including lunar and Mars missions. The U.S. perceives China's space endeavors with suspicion, fearing potential military applications. This rivalry not only echoes Cold War dynamics but is also intricately tied to economic competition and technological supremacy. China's growing space ambitions. China's space agency has made significant strides, achieving milestones such as the Chang'e lunar missions and the Tianwen-1 Mars mission, which successfully landed a rover on the Martian surface. These advancements challenge U.S. dominance in space and raise concerns about the potential militarization of space. China's Space Silk Road initiative integrates space exploration into its broader strategy for global influence, further complicating the competitive landscape. The role of government policy. The Trump administration played a pivotal role in shaping the current space landscape, blurring the lines between private enterprise and government interests. Elon Musk's appointment as head of the Department of Government Efficiency DOGE exemplifies this shift, raising concerns about conflicts of interest and the future direction of NASA. NASA's evolving role. As the U.S. increasingly relies on private companies to achieve its space ambitions, NASA's role is evolving. Critics argue that NASA may become more of a contractor for private interests rather than a leader in space exploration. The potential for reduced funding for scientific missions in favor of commercially oriented projects could hinder the agency's ability to lead in scientific research and exploration. The future of space governance. As the privatization of space accelerates, there is an urgent need for new international agreements to address emerging challenges and update space law. Without these updates, the risks of monopolization and conflict increase, potentially mirroring Earth's inequalities in space exploration. Balancing commercial ambition with global commons. The international community faces a crucial choice: to ensure that space remains a global commons benefiting all humanity, or to allow it to become a battleground for corporate interests. Crafting legal frameworks that ensure equitable access, prevent exploitation, and promote collaboration over competition is essential for the future of space exploration. Conclusion. The competitive landscape of the 2024 space race showcases a dynamic interplay between private companies and government policies, driving innovation while raising pressing questions about governance and ethical exploration. As SpaceX, Blue Origin, and Virgin Galactic vie for dominance, the future of humanity's relationship with space hangs in a delicate balance. The decisions made today regarding equity, resource access, and international collaboration will shape the trajectory of space exploration for generations to come. The ongoing evolution within this sector highlights the need for a collaborative approach to governance that considers the complexities of a privatized space economy while ensuring that exploration benefits all of humanity. The competitive landscape of the 2024 space race is notably complex, with emerging players such as Blue Origin and Virgin Galactic posing significant challenges to SpaceX's previously unassailable dominance, especially in the realm of Mars exploration. The transition from a government-led space initiative to a privatized economy has introduced several counterintuitive dynamics that reshape our understanding of space exploration and its implications. Counterintuitive dynamics in the space race. 1. Collaboration versus competition. Initially, one might assume that the emergence of new players like Blue Origin and Virgin Galactic would intensify competition exclusively. However, a significant counterintuitive aspect is the potential for collaboration among these companies as well as with government agencies. This collaborative spirit could lead to shared technological advancements and resources which could ultimately benefit all parties involved and accelerate exploration efforts. 2. Government dependence on private sector. It may seem logical that government agencies would lead space exploration, but the increasing reliance on private companies like SpaceX for launching missions, developing technology, and even planning future expeditions highlights a counterintuitive shift. NASA, historically a leader in space exploration, may find itself becoming more of a facilitator and contractor for private enterprises rather than the trailblazer it once was. This shift raises questions about the sustainability and long-term vision of space exploration under such a model. 3. Economic motivations versus scientific goals. One might expect that scientific exploration would remain paramount in space missions. However, the rise of commercial interests introduces a counterintuitive scenario where profit motives may overshadow scientific discovery. Companies focused on mining asteroids or establishing human settlements on Mars might prioritize financial returns over fundamental research, potentially sidelining key scientific missions and reducing the breadth of knowledge gained from space exploration. 4. International treaties and corporate governance. The original framework of space governance, such as the 1967 Outer Space Treaty, was designed for state-sponsored missions. The challenge posed by private enterprises complicates this landscape, as existing treaties do not sufficiently address corporate interests. This raises a counterintuitive dilemma. While space was intended to be a global commons for all humanity, the privatization of space could lead to monopolistic behavior by a few corporations, undermining the very principles that govern space exploration. 5. Perceived threats versus real threats in geopolitics. The narrative surrounding China's advancements in space technology often portrays it as a direct threat to U.S. dominance. However, a more nuanced view reveals that the competition could drive both nations toward greater innovation and cooperation in certain areas of space exploration. This counterintuitive perspective suggests that rather than leading to conflict, the race could foster a new era of collaboration that benefits all parties involved, including the global scientific community. 6. Environmental concerns versus economic growth. The rapid commercialization of space raises pressing environmental questions. While one might assume that space exploration would be less harmful than terrestrial industrial activities, the reality is more complex. The potential for space mining and the environmental impact of increased space traffic could lead to unintended consequences. Companies driven by economic growth may neglect environmental considerations, presenting a counterintuitive outcome where the pursuit of profit could harm the very environment that space exploration seeks to preserve. 7. Public perception of space exploration. The public's perception of space exploration is often framed around heroic narratives of discovery and adventure. However, the increasing involvement of billionaires and corporate interests may lead to skepticism regarding the motivations behind space missions. This counterintuitive shift in public sentiment could result in decreased support for space initiatives if they are perceived as profit-driven rather than focused on the exploration of the cosmos for the benefit of all humanity. 8. Technological advancement versus regulation. As private companies push the boundaries of technology with rapid innovation, regulatory frameworks often lag behind. This creates a counterintuitive challenge where the very advancements that promise to enhance space exploration could outpace the ability of governments to regulate them effectively. The result may be a chaotic landscape where safety protocols, environmental protections, and ethical considerations struggle to keep up with the pace of innovation. Conclusion. The competitive landscape of the 2024 space race illustrates a complex interplay of emerging players, shifting governmental roles, and the evolving motivations behind space exploration. As companies like SpaceX, Blue Origin, and Virgin Galactic redefine the parameters of this new race, the implications extend far beyond the technological realm, touching on issues of governance, ethics, and international collaboration. The counterintuitive dynamics at play challenge traditional assumptions about space exploration, urging stakeholders to reconsider their strategies and priorities in the face of an increasingly commercialized and competitive cosmic landscape. The decisions made today will undoubtedly shape humanity's trajectory in space, requiring careful navigation to ensure that the pursuit of profit does not eclipse the broader goals of scientific discovery and equitable access to the cosmos. In the evolving landscape of space exploration, particularly regarding the 2024 race for Mars, the emergence of private companies like Blue Origin and Virgin Galactic poses a significant challenge to SpaceX's dominance. While much of the discourse centers around the technological advancements and geopolitical implications of this new space race, certain critical nuances are often overlooked. These nuances have far-reaching consequences for the future of space exploration, governance, and international relations. Key players and their innovations. While SpaceX, Blue Origin, and Virgin Galactic are frequently highlighted for their technological innovations and ambitions, the significance of their competition extends beyond mere commercial interests. SpaceX has indeed revolutionized space travel through its reusable rocket technology, which has drastically reduced launch costs and increased accessibility to space. However, the importance of Blue Origin's focus on suborbital tourism and heavy lift capabilities should not be underestimated. Jeff Bezos' vision for a future where millions of people live and work in space represents a paradigm shift in how humanity perceives and interacts with the cosmos. Virgin Galactic's foray into suborbital tourism also highlights a growing trend of democratizing access to space, albeit on a smaller scale. The interplay between these companies suggests a diversification of goals in the private sector. While SpaceX is focused on interplanetary travel and colonization, Blue Origin's emphasis on sustainable human presence in space reveals a different kind of ambition, one that prioritizes long-term habitation and resource utilization. This divergence in objectives is significant as it indicates that the future of space exploration may not be dominated by a single narrative but rather by multiple competing visions that could shape technologies, policies, and international collaborations in the years to come. Commercialization and global implications. The transition from government-led initiatives to a privatized space economy is often termed Space Race 2.0. However, the implications of this shift extend beyond mere commercialization. They touch upon the very nature of international relations and governance in space. The 1967 Outer Space Treaty, which established space as a global commons, was designed with state-sponsored missions in mind. As private enterprises begin to stake claims in space, through asteroid mining, lunar bases, or even Mars colonization, the existing legal frameworks appear inadequate to address questions of property rights, resource ownership, and corporate governance. The potential for monopolization of space resources by a few powerful entities raises significant ethical questions. If left unchecked, this could replicate and exacerbate inequalities found on Earth, creating a new class of space haves and have-nots. The call for updated international agreements to manage these emerging challenges is crucial. However, the slow progress in reaching a consensus on these issues suggests a lack of urgency among major spacefaring nations and corporations, which could lead to conflicts over resources and territorial claims in space. Geopolitical dynamics. The current space race is deeply intertwined with global politics, particularly the growing rivalry between the United States and China. China's advancements in space technology, including its lunar missions and Mars exploration, challenge U.S. dominance in the space arena. This competition is characterized not only by technological prowess but also by economic and strategic interests. The U.S. response, including the establishment of the Space Force and partnerships with private companies, underscores the military and economic stakes of space exploration. However, the discourse often overlooks how this rivalry may shape international norms and governance structures in space. As countries vie for supremacy, there is a real danger that space could become a battleground for geopolitical conflict, mirroring historical territorial disputes on Earth. The implications of such a scenario could be catastrophic, not just for the nations involved but for all of humanity, as the peaceful exploration of space could be jeopardized. The role of government policy. The intertwining of private enterprises with government policies, particularly during the Trump administration, raises critical concerns about conflicts of interest and the future direction of space exploration. Elon Musk's dual role as CEO of SpaceX and head of the Department of Government Efficiency (DOGE) exemplifies a blurring of lines that could significantly impact NASA's mission and funding priorities. Critics argue that this shift may lead NASA to prioritize commercial interests over scientific research, potentially stifling innovation and exploration in areas that do not yield immediate profits. The potential reconfiguration of NASA's role, from a leading space exploration agency to a contractor for private interests, should not be taken lightly. This transition could have lasting consequences for the integrity and objectivity of U.S. space policy, as decisions may increasingly favor private companies at the expense of broader scientific objectives. The consequences of prioritizing commercial endeavors over scientific exploration could hinder humanity's understanding of space and our place within it. Future of space governance. As the privatization of space accelerates, the urgent need for comprehensive international agreements becomes increasingly evident. The challenges posed by unregulated commercial activities in space require a collaborative approach to governance that prioritizes equitable access and prevents exploitation. Without such frameworks, the potential for conflict, monopolization, and environmental degradation increases. The question of how to balance commercial ambitions with the principle of space as a global commons is a critical consideration for the international community. Decisions made today regarding space governance will shape the trajectory of humanity's relationship with the cosmos for generations to come. The challenge lies in ensuring that space remains a shared resource benefiting all of humanity rather than becoming a playground for a privileged few. Conclusion. The competitive landscape of the 2024 space race is characterized by a complex interplay of private companies, government policies, and international relations, each influencing the future of space exploration in profound ways. While companies like SpaceX, Blue Origin, and Virgin Galactic lead the charge, the unintended consequences of their ambitions must be considered carefully. The urgency of updating international agreements addressing ethical concerns and navigating geopolitical rivalries cannot be overstated. As we stand on the brink of a new era in space exploration, the decisions made today will dictate not only the direction of technological innovation but also the ethical and governance frameworks that will guide humanity's interactions with the cosmos. The future of space exploration hangs in a delicate balance requiring collaboration, foresight, and a commitment to ensuring that the benefits of our ventures into space are shared equitably among all of humanity. 1. Emergence of private space companies. The shift from government-led space initiatives to private enterprises like SpaceX, Blue Origin, and Virgin Galactic marks a significant transformation in the space sector. SpaceX under Elon Musk has pioneered reusable rocket technology, drastically reducing launch costs and enabling more frequent missions. Meanwhile, Blue Origin focuses on space tourism and heavy-lift capabilities, while Virgin Galactic carves out its niche in suborbital tourism. This democratization of space exploration introduces competitive dynamics not seen in the Cold War era, as private companies now lead the charge in technological innovation and exploration ambitions. 2. Commercialization and its global implications. The transition to a privatized space economy termed Space Race 2.0 emphasizes market-driven motivations over traditional geopolitical considerations. This shift raises complex legal and ethical questions, particularly regarding the 1967 Outer Space Treaty, which was designed for state-sponsored missions rather than private ventures. As companies plan for human settlements on Mars and resource mining, issues of property rights, resource ownership, and regulatory frameworks become increasingly pressing. The implications extend to international relations as nations grapple with the need for updated governance structures to manage this emerging landscape. 3. Geopolitical dynamics and rivalries. The current space race is deeply intertwined with geopolitical tensions, particularly between the United States and China. China's advancements in space technology, including lunar and Mars missions, pose a challenge to U.S. dominance and reflect broader strategic ambitions. The U.S. perceives these advancements with suspicion, fearing military applications and a potential erosion of its influence. This rivalry evokes Cold War dynamics but is now complicated by economic competition and technological supremacy as achievements in space become key markers of global power. 4. The role of government policy in future governance. The influence of government policy, particularly during the Trump administration, has blurred the lines between public and private interests in the space sector. The establishment of the Department of Government Efficiency (DOGE) with Elon Musk at its helm raises concerns about conflicts of interest, as NASA's priorities may shift toward commercial interests rather than scientific exploration. This entanglement necessitates a re-evaluation of space governance, with calls for new international agreements to ensure equitable access to space resources and prevent monopolization. The future of space exploration hinges on balancing commercial ambitions with the principle of space as a shared global commons, ensuring that humanity's ventures into space benefit all rather than being driven solely by profit. 1. The Space Race 1957 to 1975. The original space race was characterized by the competition between the United States and the Soviet Union during the Cold War. It began with the Soviet Union's launch of Sputnik 1 in 1957, which marked the first artificial satellite to orbit the Earth. This event ignited a fierce rivalry that led to significant technological advancements, culminating in the United States landing on the Moon in 1969 with Apollo 11. The race was not only about technological superiority but also about national pride and geopolitical dominance, affecting international relations for decades. 2. The East India Company versus Dutch East India Company 1600s to 1800s. This historical rivalry between the British East India Company and the Dutch East India Company (VOC) was fueled by competition for trade dominance in Asia, particularly in spices and other valuable commodities. Both companies operated under charters granted by their respective governments, which allowed them to act with significant autonomy and military power. The competition led to conflicts including the Anglo-Dutch Wars and shaped colonial policies that influenced the geopolitical landscape of the time. The struggle for control over trade routes and resources can be likened to today's competition in space exploration, where emerging private companies vie for dominance and resources in extraterrestrial environments. 3. The Arms Race 1947 to 1991. During the Cold War, the arms race represented a competition between the United States and the Soviet Union to achieve military superiority, particularly in nuclear weapons. This rivalry led to vast expenditures on weapons development and fueled tensions between the two superpowers. The arms race can be paralleled with the modern space race, where private companies and nations seek technological advancements and strategic advantages in space exploration. The geopolitical implications of both races highlight how technology can influence power dynamics and international relations, with concerns about security and governance emerging in both contexts. The competitive landscape of the 2024 space race is increasingly defined by the emergence of private companies like Blue Origin and Virgin Galactic, which are challenging SpaceX's historically dominant position in Mars exploration. This shift from government-led initiatives to a privatized space economy has significant implications for technological innovation, international relations, and space governance. Key players and innovations. SpaceX, founded by Elon Musk, has redefined the parameters of space travel through its reusable rocket technology, drastically reducing launch costs and increasing accessibility. In contrast, Blue Origin, backed by Jeff Bezos, is focusing on both space tourism and the development of heavy lift capabilities to support deeper space exploration. Virgin Galactic, meanwhile, is carving out a niche in suborbital tourism, appealing to a burgeoning market of space tourists. Together, these companies represent a transformative shift in space exploration, emphasizing commercial interests over the Cold War-era competition that once characterized space activities. Commercialization and global implications. The commercialization of space can be thought of as Space Race 2.0, where motivations have shifted from national pride to profit and technological ambition. This new race raises complex challenges for international law and governance, especially considering the 1967 Outer Space Treaty. Originally designed for state-sponsored missions, this treaty does not adequately address issues such as property rights and resource ownership, which are becoming increasingly relevant as private companies develop plans for human settlements on Mars and asteroid mining. Geopolitical dynamics. The current space race is intertwined with global politics, notably illustrated by China's rapid advancements in space technology. China's lunar and Mars missions pose a significant challenge to U.S. dominance in space, prompting concerns about military applications of these technologies. This geopolitical rivalry echoes Cold War dynamics but is now infused with economic competition and technological supremacy. The U.S. response has included the establishment of the Space Force and strategic partnerships with private companies to maintain its competitive edge. The role of government policy. Government policies, particularly those shaped during the Trump administration, have blurred the lines between public and private interests in the space sector. Elon Musk's appointment as head of the Department of Government Efficiency (DOGE) raises questions about conflicts of interest and the future direction of NASA. Critics fear that NASA may become more of a contractor for private interests rather than a leader in scientific missions, potentially sidelining critical research in favor of commercial projects. Future of space governance. As the privatization of space accelerates, the need for updated international agreements becomes urgent. without new frameworks to address the complexities of corporate governance and resource extraction. The risks of monopolization and conflict increase. The international community faces a pivotal decision: to ensure space remains a global commons that benefits all humanity, or to allow it to become a battleground for corporate interests. Predictions for the future. 1. Increased collaboration and competition. As Blue Origin and Virgin Galactic continue to innovate, we can expect a more collaborative yet competitive environment among private companies. Strategic partnerships may form to enhance capabilities, while competition will drive further technological advancements. 2. Evolving regulatory frameworks. International bodies will likely initiate discussions to update space governance frameworks. New treaties may emerge to address property rights, resource management, and environmental concerns, setting the stage for more equitable access to space. 3. Heightened geopolitical tensions. The rivalry between the U.S. and China is expected to intensify, particularly as both nations pursue ambitious space agendas. This may lead to increased military presence in space and a race to assert dominance over lunar and Martian territories. 4. A focus on sustainability. As the space industry grows, there will be a greater emphasis on sustainability practices to mitigate space debris and environmental impacts on Earth. Companies will be incentivized to develop technologies that promote responsible exploration and resource management. 5. Public sentiment and ethical considerations. Growing public awareness of ethical issues surrounding space exploration will influence corporate and government policies. There will be an increasing demand for transparency, accountability, and inclusive practices in the commercialization of space. 6. Technological breakthroughs. Continuous innovation will lead to breakthroughs in propulsion systems, life support technologies, and habitat construction, making Mars exploration more feasible. We may see the first human missions to Mars within the next decade, potentially led by private entities. 7. Space tourism boom. With the successful establishment of suborbital flights by companies like Virgin Galactic, we can expect a significant rise in space tourism. This sector may expand to include orbital hotels and unique experiences that cater to affluent consumers. Conclusion. The competitive landscape of the 2024 space race underscores the dynamic interplay between private companies and government policies. As SpaceX, Blue Origin, and Virgin Galactic vie for dominance, the future of humanity's relationship with space hinges on our ability to navigate the challenges of equity, resource access, and international collaboration. The decisions made today will shape the trajectory of space exploration for generations, influencing not only technological advancement but also the ethical framework within which we operate in the cosmos. The outcome of this competition will determine whether space becomes a shared frontier that benefits all humanity, or a new domain marked by inequality and conflict.